What's up guys, iDevice Help here, and Apple officially released iOS 10 worldwide a few days ago. And I'm sure a lot of you guys were enjoying the new software, but if you can get better battery life from the software, would you? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you all my tips and tricks that allow me to get an additional hour or 2 hours in some cases of my battery life on my device running iOS 10. So let me go ahead and show you some of the tricks and tips to help you improve the battery life on your iPhone. The first section you want to look into is the settings and the privacy section. In here you'll find the location services section. This here allows the device to track your location constantly at all times for these applications to give you information instantly the minute you open them. But sometimes you don't need that information to be running in the background constantly. So right here you can choose which applications you want to be constantly tracking your location using that GPS chip draining your battery. The way I go about it is while in use. So if an application wants to use my location, I usually select the option that says while in use. Now applications like weather are constantly tracking your location. For those I put never. You can still check your weather when you go inside of the weather's application, but it won't be running in the background taking up all your battery life by tracking you constantly. Right here you have additional options that you can go ahead and turn on or off depending on the applications you have installed on your device. For example, the App Store here, I only have it while in use. This will only track my location using GPS while the application is open. Below that you have the system services. This section here also has a lot of options that you might want to turn off. So for example, I usually turn off location-based suggestions. I don't use that often for maps, so I turn it off. Location-based Apple ads. I don't want ads based on my location. Down here you have diagnostic usage. All these I would turn off if you're not an Apple developer. This is constantly sending Apple diagnostic information, but as you see here the triangle, that means it's constantly sending your location. Now right above that you have the frequent location. This section here I always turn off. I never want my device to track everywhere I go. That drains the battery, invades the privacy a little bit as well. Now let's go back here and look at some of the additional options that you can choose to further expand the battery life on your device. Let's go ahead into General. Scroll down right here where it says background app refresh. This section here allows each application to constantly be running in the background. So for example, the Apple Store is constantly updating. So when I launch the app, I get the latest information about the application and what's happening. I don't normally want all my applications to do this, so I can toggle those individually. Again, by turning these off, you get better battery and better performance from your device as well. I typically turn everything off. I only want my applications to refresh when I launch them. I don't want them to be running in the background at all times. I don't really need that. Now, some of the typical and normal things you want to keep in mind is if you're not using your Bluetooth, just go ahead and turn off Bluetooth. If you're not using Wi-Fi, you're out on a road trip or something, turn off the Wi-Fi. Those things are constantly tracking to try to connect. So if you turn those off while you're not going to be using them for a while, it really helps improve the battery usage on your device as well. Another section you might want to consider looking at is the iTunes Store. In this section here, you have the automatic download music, apps, books, and updates. This section here is constantly tracking the App Store, the iTunes Store, the iBook Store in order to download the latest updates for your music, for your apps, and things like that. Now, you'll still get your updates once you launch these applications. The only difference here is it's not going to constantly be tracking in the background to see if there's any new data for it to download automatically to your device. So if I want a new app update, all I have to do is launch the App Store, and then the App Store will prompt me if there's any new updates just like that. But if there isn't any new updates, it's not going to constantly be tracking in the background, again, preserving your battery and improving the performance on your device as well. Another section I typically turn off is the Hey Siri option. This option here, Hey Siri, allows Siri to constantly have the microphone on to allow Siri to detect when you say Hey Siri in order for you to use Siri hands-free. If you don't want that feature, you can turn it off. This is going to preserve your battery as well because it's not going to allow Siri to constantly have the microphone listening in order for you to go ahead and use Siri hands-free. Now under the batteries tab, you have the low power mode, of course. This is that button that you're going to activate when you're on that 20%. It's going to help you improve your battery performance. Right below that, you have your latest 24 hours of battery consumption individually by application. You also have your 7-day. You can sort through and see which applications are using the most battery. Now, two additional options that I look into sometimes is the handoff option. This option here is constantly tracking other devices around you, whether it's your Mac, your iPad, your iPods, in order to hand off any task that you might be doing on your iPhone to be transferred over to those devices. It's very useful if you have other Apple devices, but if you don't, you can turn this off and it will no longer track other devices around you in order to hand off those tasks to those devices. And the last option I want to share with you guys is the new Rise to Wake option. This Rise to Wake option is very self-explanatory. If you put your device to sleep, bring up the screen like that, the device will turn on the display. It's constantly using the proximity sensor and the gyroscope built into the device in order to give you that rise to wake option. Now this is only available on the iPhone SE, iPhone 6s, 6s Plus, 7 and 7 Plus, but that option is one of those that you can also toggle off if you wish to do so. But anyway guys, this about brings it into this video. Hope you guys enjoyed my tips on how to save battery in iOS 10. If you enjoyed the video, like always, don't forget to leave that like. Much more videos coming your way. Be sure to stay tuned. It's been iDevice Help, and I will catch you guys really soon. Peace.